Hey,
Hey, there we
everybody.
are.
Here it is. Welcome to the Soul Goals Podcast. My name is Dawn, and I have the delightful,
Dixie.
delightful Dixie.
It's delightful Dawn too, but you don't ever say that about yourself.
I know, but it just delightful Dixie just rolls off my tongue so easily. And if people
That's
that are
so
listening to
funny.
this probably get sick of me saying that and a comment about it every time I say it.
We start every podcast like this. Okay.
It's perfect. It's
That's
perfect.
so funny.
Well, folks, welcome to another episode. This one is called Text It. And the idea behind this week that Dixie and I took on, this fun challenge, I call it a fun challenge because I like doing this kind of thing. But I would wager to bet there are people that would have a challenge with this seriously because they may be a little bit more introverted. I look at myself and at you as being a little bit more extroverted, a
Hmm.
little bit more open to reaching out to others. And ideally, that's what this was this week, was texting somebody different each day that we may have talked to regularly or may not have talked to for a long time, and send them an uplifting message, check in on them, see what's happening, and kind of see how that feeds our souls in the same time that it's feeding someone else and helping someone else maybe brighten their day, have a little bit of a lift. I mean, we never know what other people are going through. I think that's the biggest thing. The takeaway for me in all of this is, just to have compassion, because we don't know the shoes that our neighbor is walking in, and we may, everybody has a great front 9 times out of 10 that they put on, but behind the scenes, you never know. You never know
Right.
what someone's struggling with. So, yeah, tell me about your week, Dixie. Tell me about texting, because I feel like this. I like getting messages. When I get them from you, I love them. They're
Oh,
so dear and they're so wonderful. And you actually sent me a really nice text this week. So thank you for that. Yeah, I
you're
needed that when you
welcome.
sent that.
When I sent it, I wasn't sending it for our challenge, but I thought, look at there.
You did. There we go. I didn't even think about that, but
I
because
know.
you're synonymous to me with, it's just you reach out. That's kind of your MO. And I wonder, in this whole, I want to get your opinion about it. What do you think about people that may have a harder time doing this, and how the introverted may, like, how could you struggle with this, but how could you step out of that introversion just to be able to connect with somebody in this way?
Yeah, I started actually um exercising this muscle, if you will.
Mhm.
Um a few years ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago, because I was listening to a podcast, and the person I was listening to in their morning routine, part of their morning routine was to send three encouraging text messages to just random people.
Oh,
And this was part of their every single day. And I was like, that's a great idea, because I love it when somebody just like randomly texts me and says, "Hey, I was just thinking about you. Hadn't seen you in a while. How you doing?"
yeah.
Like, that's all it takes. And
Yep.
so since then, I always kind of look for opportunities to reach out, or if somebody just pops into my mind
Mm.
randomly,
Mhm.
I'll just always send them a text and be like, "Oh my gosh, hey, you came to
Mhm.
mind today. I hope everything's going great. How you doing? What, whatever."
Yeah.
And so I feel like when you say that, makes me, I'm really excited. It makes me feel really encouraged for you to say that, like, that's your kind of MO, is to reach out, because it's a skill I wanted to learn to do. It's a muscle I wanted to develop, and
Yeah.
because it means so much to me when people do it to me.
Right.
So
Right.
um yeah, so I reached out to, something happened where I work, and I reached out to a person who was probably going through a difficult time, not difficult, but challenging, just to
Mhm.
say, "Hey, how's it going? Thinking about you." And then, yeah, it always spurs up a conversation. But I think
Mm.
texting is perfect for an introvert, actually. I would think,
Yeah,
because
that's a great point. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can just text it and move on,
Yeah.
or whatever. I think um that would probably work really well.
It's kind of, that's a great point that you say that, because I feel like, yeah, and you say that, it pops my head, goes, yeah, it's safe. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's a quick little blurb. And if you don't feel so, if it's a hard thing for you to connect with other people, it is a really good way to kind of just send a little poof out there into
Hmm.
the universe. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
And
think too, it everybody always likes to be thought about.
Mhm.
You can't, I can't, I mean, it would be, maybe there's one weirdo out there that's like, I don't want people to consider me or think about me or encourage
Yeah.
me. I don't know. But I think everybody, if they realize somebody has thought of them and took the time to say hello and how are you doing? I mean, who doesn't love that?
Yeah. Feeds your soul. And there's two things that you said when you were talking about initially. One thing you said that I love is like when we look for opportunities, like looking for those opportunities. If you see somebody that may need a little bit of a lift and there's a tug inside of you to do that, that random thing. Then you said that random person that pops up in your head.
Hmm.
Gosh, I really think like there's so many. You said this on a podcast recently. I was listening back to one of them. We were talking. You talked about glimmers,
Hmm.
right? And these
Instead
little,
of triggers.
yeah, it's glimmers instead of triggers. Yeah, and I think that a lot of times when somebody random pops up into my head, it's almost I could consider that to be a glimmer because it's
Yeah.
going to feed me just as much as it's going to feed them.
Yeah. You
You
get to
know?
be their glimmer.
Yeah, but there's a connectedness that
Hmm.
happens between the two, and I think that it benefits ourselves just as much as it benefits the
Hmm.
person that we're reaching out to that could hear that really needs to hear that, or that really needs to know somebody is thinking of them.
Oh yeah, crazy story. And it's
Okay.
one of the text messages I sent. Um, this is crazy. You're gonna like fall out of your chair. Crazy.
Okay. Hold on.
Um,
I'm holding on.
I know, right?
Okay.
So I was at work this past week one day, and this girl came in, she's about my age with her husband. And I heard somebody go, Dixie? And I turned around and I saw her and I was like, oh my gosh. And she said, I'm so and so's sister. And I was like, I know. How are you doing? We hugged. She
Uh-huh.
said, well, we're in town for, her husband was receiving chemotherapy. She said, we're in town for my husband's treatments and I was starving. So we decided to come here. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a small world. I said, I'm so glad to see you. And she said, I can't wait to tell my sister that I saw you. So we took a selfie
Uh-huh.
and I sent the selfie to her sister and I
Perfect.
said, hey, look who I'm with. And she texted me back and she said, oh my gosh, I love those faces. I miss you. I just ran into Anna,
What, your
my
daughter?
daughter. Yes.
Like
She
at the
said, is
same time,
yes. And
but
she
in a
said,
whole different area.
completely on the other side of town.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I thought that was so funny that I reached out to her via text because I ran into her sister
Mhm.
and she had just ran into my daughter. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
I love that. And that to me speaks about a whole other avenue we can go down about intentionality with like the randomness is are things random? Like when we reach out to somebody
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh my god, I needed that today." You don't know how much I needed that today, whether they tell you that or not.
Yes. And
It's we're so connected in that way.
it is. And she is somebody that the she is somebody that I randomly get texts from her where she's
Oh,
just like, "Hey, I'm just thinking about you." So for me to run into her sister and then us take a selfie and send it to her at the time that she's running into my daughter, that's the craziest thing. I was like, "That is nutty."
it's great. That's synchronistic, serendipitous, all the
All the
S words,
things,
all the things.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I reached out to a couple people because I'm in the midst of writing out graduation invitations for both of my kids.
Yeah, that's
Yes, this
crazy.
spring is you talk about nutty. Like
Yeah.
we've got one graduating from college and then 2 weeks later another one graduating from high school. It's just a really I wouldn't have it any other way. It's like stress is good, bad, indifferent, whatever. There's a
Yeah.
lot going on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's all I'm just I it's amazing. I
That's
feel really, really
exciting.
blessed. Yeah. And so in doing that, I'm pulling out old addresses and I'm going, oh my gosh, I have to reconnect with family that I haven't seen in a while because, you send the announcement so that they know that you have a daughter that's graduating so
Mhm.
that they're aware. It's just kind of the thing to do. We always do through our extended family.
Yeah.
And I reached out to my daughter's godmother who lives in New York. And she kind of said the same thing. She goes, I can't believe you just texted me. I was absolutely thinking about you, like literally an hour ago, and wondering how you were
Awesome.
doing, and knowing that this is coming in, like your oldest daughter's getting ready to graduate, and wondering how all that's coming along. And I was getting ready to reach out. So we were within that time window. And I just really believe when you put your intention out there here, okay, here's the woo woo for the day, right?
The woo woo for the
The
day.
woo woo for the day for me is I really believe so strongly in putting that intentionality out there. And when you do, like attracts like, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's the magnetic things that happen in the universe with us as humans that are these energetic beings. Because I mean, we are, what is the quote? It's, we are human beings having what's having an experience, or we are beings having a human experience.
Oh yeah.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I look at the broader picture of how interesting, like the story you told about your
Mm-hmm.
friend and your daughter, and how that all connectedness happened, right
Mm-hmm.
down to what I was just talking about with my daughter's godmother and connecting with her. And I just don't think there's anything random. We are meant to connect,
Mm-hmm.
and it's these wonderful, beautiful little surprises from us. But isn't it interesting to think about all of that, how it's all probably already orchestrated for us? Our
Mm-hmm.
game plan, our game plan's already written, you know?
Right. Right. No, I believe that.
Mhm,
I think there's two things that if you put it in a faith, if you look at it through a faith lens,
mhm,
um, like putting your intention out there, kind of getting what you give is like the concept of reaping and sowing and
mhm.
reaping.
Yeah.
Like what you plant is what you get.
Yes.
So if you plant kindness and um, encouragement and laughter and love and light, where you're going to get
Mhm.
all that back. If you're mean and stingy and greedy, and then don't be surprised if your life feels like it's not great, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And then you said something about nothing feels random. um Looking through that faith lens, the Bible says that our steps are ordered. And
Mm.
so, you know we are we're walking through things that ultimately I think are meant for our good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether we look at that with
What?
a
Mhm.
lens of good, air
Mhm.
quote good, or air quote bad. You know, we all have
Mhm.
our own perspective on what those experiences are and the labels that we put on them. But
Mhm.
yeah, exactly like you said. I mean, and I reached out to you at one point this past week, super frustrated about some things that were happening that were completely outside of my control,
Mhm.
completely outside of my control.
Yeah.
And that's a big trigger, or I should say slash opportunity for me
Yeah.
to do
It's
work.
okay to say trigger.
It's a
Some things
big
do.
trigger, but
Some
it's an
things do.
opportunity. Well,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
something for me to be able to look deeper at why it's bothering me so much. Why does this lack of control bother me so much? And I think,
right.
we're meant to dive into those pieces whether we want to
Mhm.
or not. But I mean, how interesting, the reaping what you sow. I had this conversation with a friend the other day about when bad things happen, when you're putting good out in the world, what does that really mean?
Mhm.
Why does that happen? Is it because God gives you what he knows you can handle? Is it because it's spiritual warfare? Is it because it just sometimes a ham sandwich is just a ham sandwich?
Right. Right.
Sometimes it just is what it is. Or is it because you need to build that muscle for something deeper that's getting ready to occur?
Yeah, and I don't think I'm gonna play a little bit of the devil's advocate here, but I don't think God gives us just what we can handle. I think he gives us more than we can handle so
Mhm.
that we we turn towards something bigger than us. And I think that's what prepares us for the things that are coming,
Yeah.
because I don't think that God causes all things, but I do think that he can cause all things to work out for
Right.
us.
Right.
He's not, I don't believe particularly that he's up there, zapping good things and bad things. I don't
Right.
think that. I
Right.
think we just live in a weird, crazy universe that is what it is, and we
Mhm.
have to navigate through it. And I just choose to navigate through it with faith, and that's where I put my intention.
Yeah.
Um, and so I just, yeah, I think when things happen that are not ideal or that are just bad, we can just call it bad.
Mhm.
Um, sometimes they happen and we breeze right through it and we figure something out. And
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes it does prepare us for
Yeah.
other things. Like we were just talking about this. This is a very simplistic example about my arthritis in my knees and
Right.
my high pain tolerance. And you
Right.
said, I think as CrossFitters, the pain cave,
Hmm.
it moves based on what you got to get done in
Yeah.
that workout. And that's neither good or bad, but it is just is, you
Yeah.
know? And so we choose pain on the daily so
Hmm.
that when our body is actually in pain, we handle it a whole lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. We know how to process it. We know how to work through it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's something that you're intentionally putting yourself in situations to be able to handle tough situations.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
either choose hard or hard happens. Either way we learn, right?
God, can we just
Right?
drop? Okay.
Thinking.
And wrapping this episode right there. That's yes. Yes. We either
Mhm.
choose it, it happens, but either way we learn.
Right. And
God.
either way it's coming across because nothing is perfect all of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, if it was, it'd be fantastic. But that's not
But it also would be, we wouldn't grow as humans. And,
exactly
you know,
right.
I will tell you this past weekend for my household was so intense with so many
Hmm.
different things happening, one thing on top of another, on top of another. And all of it, as orchestrated as I could make it, as scheduling wise as I could make it still was without my control.
A lot.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was heavy, heavy, lots of stuff. So
Mhm. Mhm.
one of the things that happened was one of the most beloved people in my life, my mother-in-law at 93 years young, passed away after amazing, amazing life.
Mhm.
And I say that with a huge smile on my face because she was ready. We knew that. And she
Mhm.
had a lovely passing that was beautiful and peaceful with her loved ones all around her. It was really, really wonderful.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the season of life, it's the
Mhm.
transitions that we go through.
Yeah.
Um, I wasn't able to be there for her actual passing, but 24 hours prior to it, I was able to sit with her for about an hour,
Mhm.
and we talked, and I was able to say everything that I needed to say. We laughed, we cried, we
Mhm.
joked, we did all of the things for about an hour, and it was one of the most beautiful gifts. And I can look back, and I had an ugly cry about it
Yeah,
yesterday.
you got me. I'm already here.
Oh, oh, but I just feel like that.
Because that is a beautiful gift. Not
Yeah,
everybody gets that moment
right,
to
right. And
say the
I don't
things.
take that lightly at all.
Yeah, it's
I just
beautiful.
know that that was such a big thing within, that was such a big piece because she was such a big piece within my life. And
Mhm.
then I look back and I go, all right, what is this teaching me about the people that matter to me in my life and the people that I'm connected to? What can I do? And we are in the midst of this challenge about texting it. And up
Uh-huh.
until that, I had sent texts to friends that you hadn't talked to in a couple of months and just said, hey, hope you're doing well. I saw your kids blah 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 on Facebook. That was so, how exciting that could have been, or that was for you.
Yeah.
Just very kind of superficial stuff. But after that, I thought, you know what, I need to go deeper with some of this stuff because
Mhm.
it's important, and how we connect is important because we don't know when our last day is
Mhm.
to be doing this podcast. We
Right.
don't know when our last day is to take our last sip of coffee.
Mhm.
We don't know when our last day is to be able to give our kids a hug.
Mhm.
We don't know. It talk about the outside of our control situation. So
Right.
after that turning point, my texts, even in the midst of all my frustration, I was like, I've got find the good, looking for
Right.
the
There
good.
you
And
go.
I even told that to my older daughter because we were out of town for part of the weekend,
Mhm.
and she was ranting about something. And I said, look, one of my good friends told me this probably about 5 or 6 years ago. What about this situation is good that we are not getting?
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. And I went, I looked at her because she was driving and we're at a red light, and she just looked at me and she kind of was tearing up. And I said, okay, what about this is good that we're not getting right now? Like, let's ask that question. What about this is that's good? And it just forces you to find those little pieces, those little pockets of, you know what? I'm healthy. You know
Right.
what? I have a car and I'm driving it. And it makes it very simplistic. But if you
Right.
take that to the bigger picture, then you think, wow, I have this ability to reach out to people and impact people by just saying hello,
Mm-hmm.
just saying, how are you? Just saying, hey, I'm thinking about you. And how impactful that little statement can be to someone. If I can pause myself and back up and go, whew, I have my health today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to travel to go see my daughter. I I just had a really great meal, you know.
Right.
I have water to drink.
And how good is it and how beautiful is it that you happened to be there at the time that she was having a hard time?
Yeah.
That's good. You know,
Yeah,
that's there's good,
exactly. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you weren't having to have the conversation over the phone or
Right.
on FaceTime. You got to actually touch her and
Yeah.
hug her. So
Absolutely.
yeah. And two,
Absolutely.
I'm in some situations, I think too, you have a hard time finding the good in the moment.
Mhm.
And then you may get months down the road, you may get years down the road, and then you're like, oh, okay. Now I see the purpose.
Yeah.
It's not always the purpose. You don't always see the purpose immediately. So
Yeah.
that whole find the good, what's the good we can find right now? That's really great advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
It's and
sometimes you can't see the purpose and you think, what is the point?
Mhm. Yeah, we just
Right?
get so overwhelmed with our emotions and
Mm-hmm.
so in the thick we're in the weeds. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
go in the weeds big time when we go in
Yeah.
down that emotional road where we are triggered, where we have trauma that has, that's happened, things that have just come back like
Mm-hmm.
PTSD. It's a big thing. You know, there's a lot of stuff that can pull us into that space.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening back to our podcast that we released just recently, the sensory balance, and about how, just sidebar, I was listening to that while I was running on the treadmill. Is that weird that I do that? My kids think that I'm like, that's weird. Like crazy people listen to podcasts when they run and they exercise.
Yeah, I don't listen to podcasts when I'm running. I need to run. This is funny too. I need to find songs where I'm running to the beat of the music.
Yeah, no, it's not weird at all. Not wrong. That's yeah, absolutely. When I
I do
walk,
other
I do
things.
that.
I can lift weights and listen to podcasts, but
Mhm.
not
Yes.
cardio.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Anyway, squirrel moment right there. Sidebar.
Right, right.
Let me pull it back onto the main highway. Was listening back to that podcast and we're talking about bringing ourselves down, emotionally regulating ourselves by checking in with our five senses
Hmm.
and really pulling ourselves back into our body. Because I think a lot of times when we get so big and so wrapped up with our emotions, no matter what it is, right? We lose sight of the forest for the trees, right? Like
Right.
what you're saying. It's the bigger picture. And sometimes it's harder to see that in the moment when things are happening. It is
Hmm.
for me.
Yeah,
I
me
know
too.
it is for me. And
Yeah,
you
for
can attest
sure.
to that because I texted you in the middle of all my crazy hair stuff.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean it happens. Um, but yeah, and it is hard to see out. It's so hard to like get out from right in front of your face.
Yeah. And I think
But
too, like we're just human. So we're doing
yeah.
the best that we can. We're doing the best that we can. So I think at my age now, like I in my 50s, I'm going, okay, I can give myself a little bit more grace than I could even in my 40s and definitely in my 30s. And for
Hmm.
sure than from my 20s. I wasn't
Oh
giving
yeah.
myself any grace then.
Right.
You know
I
that.
feel yeah, I feel like when I feel myself in situations start to get frustrated or start to get worked up, I think, is this going to matter to me in 2 weeks? Is this going to matter to me a month from now? Or am I even going to remember this like 5 years from now?
Yeah.
And if I can't say yes to the 2 weeks, then I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Um, so I can move on or I can figure out why it's bothering me so bad. And that might matter, but the thing that's going on itself, it's just, is this just drama or is this important
Yeah,
for
exactly.
me? And
And
so
does this
most of the
really
time,
and
it's
then the
just,
same friend that said that about, what's good about this that we're not getting was also saying to me at one point in a different situation. She's a great friend. I mean, she just stabilizes me all through it.
yeah,
But she's
she's
like,
like the wisdom bomb.
yeah, total wisdom bomb. She's like, is this really yours to be dealing with? And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh. I didn't think about it that way. She's like, I'm not saying that you don't have a part in it, but are you taking on everybody's stuff in a situation that, like in a group situation? Are you making other people's stuff your stuff as well as taking on your stuff? Because I mean,
Mhm.
we have to be responsible with our emotional regulation and our emotional responses. I believe that and will stand by that and will say that. I don't care who says that's not the case. I'm telling you, it is a strong, strong piece for
Mhm.
connectedness in relationships is taking responsibility for your emotional component in your interactions in that relationship.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, you
And
can't control what happens to you, but you absolutely can control how you react and respond.
right.
A
But
hundred percent.
she was telling me like you're taking everybody else's stuff, their responsibility for their own emotional stuff. And you're saying, "Here, I'll take it. I'll take it. Give it to me. I'm going to take care of
Mhm.
mine and yours." And then then you're resentful and then you're angry and then you can't figure out what was really yours in the beginning to be
Right.
able to say, "This is what I need to work on to make myself a better individual in this relationship." So,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, sidebar, total down.
No, I know the whole emotional regulation. I call it the can't help it's because I
Mm,
used to tell my kids if they would say, I can't help it. I'm like, that's not true. None of us suffer from the can't help it's. You
yeah.
decided, um, everybody decides.
Yes. We
You
all
know,
choose.
we can all help it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
I love
None of
that.
us are suffering from the can't help it.
Can you write that book?
Right.
It's been said here, sorry kids, no one's taking that, right?
Right.
This is it. Dixie's writing the book, The Can't Help It's.
It's so
No
funny.
one should be suffering from the can't help it's. No one,
No.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will tell you, back to the texting thing. I think that after this weekend, I've seen like we have a massive family group chat. There's probably 18 of us,
Oh, wow.
including my 93-year-old mother-in-law was still texting on the group chat. Like
That's
the
so
week,
sweet.
yeah, the week prior, before she passed away, one of our family members, one of her grandchildren, he had wrist surgery and he he sent a really goofy message the night before he went in for surgery because he's like mid 30s and he's never had surgery before. Like, I don't know anybody.
Oh, wow. That's
What? Yeah,
crazy.
right. And he was super worried about it. And she came back and she's like, "You're gonna be fine." That's all she said. And
Mhm.
then so he comes out of surgery and he's like, and all he says it sends this funny gif, like made it, and right. And so she sends him back this sweet little thing. But I just I just remember looking at that and then seeing my niece this morning send a picture of her 5-year-old smiling in the camera and saying, "Everybody, I hope everybody has a great day today."
Mhm. I
You
love
know?
that.
And I
Yeah.
mean, that's all that she needed to say, and that
Mhm.
touches the other 17, 16 of us in that group chat in the
Yeah.
way that it needs to touch us. It's very simplistic, but it's also very meaningful, and it's very heartfelt
Mhm.
from a space of, "Yeah, I can give you this because, yeah, I really do. I hope that you have a great day."
Mhm.
Yeah, and here's a
Yeah,
sweet
that's
picture of a
super
little
cool.
girl to go with it. Yeah.
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 Like, I know, like, sweet little girly face. I love it.
Mhm.
Happy
Mhm.
babies.
Absolutely. Any other texts
Yes.
that you wanna share that you did this week?
I'm trying to think. I did, like, probably more than I did probably more than one a day, but,
Mhm.
the one that really stuck out was the one I sent to my friend with the timing of it all, like, with
Yeah.
Anna and all of that, and sometimes I just, like, will just say, "Hey," well, we had tornadoes this week, so I did reach out to a lot of people just to check on them, and there was my family in Mississippi had the it came through Mississippi and up to us, and so, checking on all those people too, so,
Yeah.
and typically, I'll just, like, randomly just say, "Hey, my beautiful," my sister-in-law, "Hey, my beautiful sister, how you doing?
Oh.
Love you." I'll just do that, just that. So, it's nothing, like, major. It's nothing big. It's just so simple
Yeah,
to make
it's very
somebody
simple.
feel feel nice and feel thought of.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Let somebody know that you are thinking of them, and that just
Mhm.
goes so far. It's like you said earlier, you don't know what people are dealing with. You really
Right.
don't know. None of us do,
Yeah, none of us do. That's absolutely true. Because
Mhm.
everybody puts on their their best face
Mhm.
always when you're
Mhm.
I mean, how many times do you say, "Hey, how you doing?" And everybody go, "Oh, I'm fine. How are you?" "Great. You?"
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have I looked at somebody and said, "Oh, I'm doing great. You? How are you?" And really,
Yes.
I'm not great.
Right. Right.
I mean, there have been times where I just lie. I
Right.
think a lot of people do. We just because we feel like we have to have it all together.
Mm. Mhm.
And it's okay to be messy.
Mm.
Thank
Thank you
God,
for
because I'm a hot mess most of the time.
that.
So
Well,
it's
I
okay to be
think
messy.
you're a delightful hot mess.
Yeah.
I love everything about you because what you do is you connect with people. Like the fact that you said, "You know, well, I probably did it a couple times a day instead of just once a day." I would expect nothing different from you. You're a doll in thinking about other people, and I just think that's really such a wonderful attribute. And it's like, it's something that it's a muscle that sometimes we have to exercise if we're not comfortable being vulnerable with people in that way.
Mhm.
Just
It's
like,
the same, right? It's the same thing as discipline. It's a perishable skill. Like you can stop doing something and lose all the discipline behind it. You can stop exercising a muscle and um not atrophy. Yes,
yeah,
atrophy.
yeah,
And so it's the same concept. The more you do it, the better you get. I wouldn't say the better you get at it. It's just kind of like just the more comfortable you
yeah,
get with connecting with people. I just love to connect with people. It means community means everything to me. So,
yeah,
and I was the kid growing up that I just couldn't take it if somebody was mad at me. I had
yeah.
to figure out why. Like, why are you mad at me?
Oh,
Why? Oh my gosh, I'm so
wow.
sorry.
Okay.
And that was pre adulthood when I learned that some people sometimes just hurting people hurt people and you didn't do a
Mhm.
thing. But
Right.
I love connection and community, and it's just kind of if there's something that can create that or nurture that. And this is so simple.
So
This is
simple.
so
Mhm.
simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be like, well, hello, I'm missing you or thinking about you, love you. It could just be, hey, what's up? Haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's not,
that was me. That's what I did for a couple of
yeah,
them. Yeah. Mhm.
sure.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be like, oh, you know,
Yeah, I'm not burying out my laundry.
right,
I'm not dirty laundry to
right.
everybody, right? Yeah, but it's that simplistic and it's the thought. It's the thought of doing it. And it's then that creates this action. The thought of it creates the action, and then the action creates the connectedness. It's a big deal.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Nurturing.
Because if they respond with, "Oh my gosh, hey, how are you? Doing great. Was just thinking about you. Hadn't seen you in a while. Oh, how are your kids? Oh," and then all right, we're reconnected. Boom.
Yeah.
That
And
took 5 minutes.
if that. Yeah.
Right.
Well, for me, it probably
Right.
takes longer because I can't text as fast. But yeah, there you go. Well, gosh, well, thank you for sharing so vulnerably. And thank
Oh,
you for
and you too,
dropping so
girl.
many beautiful, like, truth bombs in this episode, Dixie. I mean, like, wow. I've loved it.
Oh, well, thanks.
Yeah. You got at least 2 books in you from this conversation. You think I'm lying?
The can't help it I got from a friend of mine probably 30 years ago. I heard
Oh,
him say it and I adopted that and I was like, yeah, I'm making that my own because that makes so much sense.
yep. Yep.
So
We're
yeah,
trademarking it right here for you.
that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Stamp.
I have to give him credit in the forward.
There you go. Yes, there you go. Absolutely. You think I'm lying. I'm not fibbing here. Not fibbing at all. Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, friends, reach out to somebody, connect with somebody, nurture those relationships, whether it's a simple message or whether it's something a little bit deeper. You get to choose, but know that your actions and your thoughts, your heart behind that message is really what it's all about.
Yep.
Totally.
Yep.
Hey. And until next week, I'm Dawn.
And I'm Dixie.
Hey, we'll see you again next time.
Bye.